Hello and welcome to The Big Question, the program where you, the people of India, set the agenda and senior politicians have to respond. This week, like every week, we're going to raise the questions, tackle the issues that really matter. With me are over 100 young people ready and waiting to ask the questions. And on the platform, 3 senior politicians. They are from the National Democratic Alliance government, the Minister of State for Defence and Lok Sabha MP from Udhampur, Chamanlal Gupta. From the Congress Party, one of its senior spokespersons and senior Supreme Court advocate, Abhishek Manu Singhvi. And from the Rashtriya Lok Dal, its president and former cabinet minister, Ajit Singh. We start with the recent terrorist attack in Jammu. Kinni Pandey, your question, please.
Would you agree that the recent terrorist attack in Jammu is the challenge to the Indian Army? And is our army fully prepared to accept this challenge?
Mantri Sahab, aap Raksha Mantri hain. Is this a challenge to the Indian Army?
पिछले लगभग 16 वर्षों से ये प्रॉक्सी वार चल रही है और इसके अंदर बहुत सारे अटैक हुए हैं। प्रॉक्सी वार में कुछ फिदाइन जो मरने के लिए आते हैं वो जगह जगह पर अलग अलग जगहों पर ऐसे हमले कर रहे हैं। स्वाभाविक है, जो आदमी मरने के लिए आया है वो 2, 4, 6 को मारेगा भी। हमारी आर्मी हमेशा सदा वो तैयार है। आपने देखा ही है कि 4 बार पाकिस्तान के साथ हमारी लड़ाई हुई है। चारों बार हमने पाकिस्तान को धरती की धूल चटाई है और अब की बार भी इस प्रॉक्सी वार में भी निश्चित रूप से हमारी आर्मी जो है वो जीतेगी और पाकिस्तान को धरती की धूल चटाएगी, ऐसा मेरा विश्वास है।
अजीत सिंह जी, मंत्री साहब तो असल में लड़ाई के बारे बोल गए, मगर किन्हीं का सवाल था अबाउट टेररिज्म।
आई एम टॉकिंग ऑफ प्रॉक्सी वार,
not specifically the issue. Fedayeen attacks, that's really what it's about. Is the army up to the challenge?
See, it's a cross-border terrorism we are talking about. The terrorism in India, everyone knows, is promoted and abetted by the neighboring country. So you cannot really separate the issue that terrorism, it's not a homegrown terrorism. So, and as our defense minister has said, that army is up to the task, there is no question. The question is that the people who guide the army, the government, are we up to the task?
और इस सवाल का जवाब भी दीजिएगा। मंत्री साहब के बारे आप कह रहे हैं, is the मंत्री साहब up to the task?
No, I said, see, we
put
our army.
लेकिन कहते जाइएगा। मंत्री साहब भी मुस्कुरा रहे हैं।
We put our army on the border for 7 months and made all kind of noises. We withdrew it and the situation hasn't changed a bit. So somewhere we have to look what we have been saying. I mean, I don't know what's happening on the ground, but politically we have made terrorism a big issue. Terrorism, terrorism, terrorism.
And has it paid dividends or has it failed to do that?
Some people are hoping it would in the next election.
Which suggests that you don't think it has.
Well, I think we have to look forward to next election.
अच्छा, मुझे एक चीज बताइएगा, are these newfound views because you are no longer in the government, or did you believe this 2 months ago as well?
No, you will agree that when I was government, the same issues I was raising about agriculture and other things, I am still raising the same issues.
Let's broaden the issue a little. Komal Bhatt, your question to Mr. Singhvi.
Whilst the original Tanda attack was a Fedayeen mission, reports in the press suggest that the fact that 2 lieutenant generals and a major general were injured by terrorists after the initial attack is a sign of carelessness and inefficiency. Do you agree with this?
Well, I think the crux of the question is on the Fedayeen aspect of it. It's terrorism is generally a larger issue. Within terrorism, there is a subgroup of suicide attacks. I think number one, we have one of the finest armies in the world. We are proud of it, and they have acquitted themselves very well. But they do need to develop special expertise in the area of combating suicide attacks. Perhaps that is not being focused upon so much today.
You're actually suggesting, aren't you, that expertise is lacking at the moment?
Yes, it doesn't exist because, I mean, we treat terrorism generally, but Fedayeen attacks within the category of terrorism stands on a very special footing. And there are, in the West and elsewhere, special training techniques and procedures and equipment to combat it. And secondly, naturally, we must follow all the standard protocols about not congregating for example, all our senior officials in one place at one time.
Now that really is the heart of the question Komal asked. General T.P.S. Barar, the Corps Commander of 16th Corps, one of the two Lieutenant Generals that Komal referred to, has actually, according to the Indian Express, instituted an inquiry to look into two issues. Was sanitization properly achieved before the generals came?
That's
And who and on what basis gave the all clear? Doesn't that suggest that there were some lapses?
Absolutely. In fact, I think India as a nation is extremely lucky, both in Parliament and in the recent attack, because what would have happened if 3 of our generals, Lieutenant Generals and others, would have died? It's not only the number 3, it's the tremendous psychological shock. And therefore, I think this has to be looked at very carefully, extremely carefully for future at least. If we learn a lesson well this time, at least we will not repeat the errors of the history.
Manत्री साहब, इस पे आप कुछ कहिएगा. You are Rajya Raksha Mantri. The army has instituted an inquiry. An inquiry is not instituted unless something went wrong. So then, do you agree? There were things that went wrong here.
नहीं, जब तक इंक्वायरी की रिपोर्ट ना आ जाए उस पर मैं कह दूं कि वहां पर गलती हुई है, मैं नहीं समझता कि ये कहीं उचित होगा।
सर, कॉन्फर्मेशन के साथ तो आप नहीं कह सकते, लेकिन इंक्वायरी का मतलब है कि कुछ शक तो होगा, नहीं तो इंक्वायरी क्यों हो रही है बिना शक के?
इंक्वायरी इसीलिए हो रही है, जैसा कहा गया कि आपने भी कहा है कि एक स्टेज पर सब इट इज ऑल क्लियर, ये मैसेज गया, उसके बाद जनरल्स वहां पर आए हैं, उसके बाद फिदाइन का अटैक हो गया फिर से। सो दैट इज वाई दे हैव सेड कि सैनिटाइजेशन जो है वो बराबर हुआ था कि नहीं हुआ था बिफोर आस्किंग जनरल्स टू कम, दैट इज टू बी लुक्ड इनटू। और अगर मैं समझता हूं कि जब तक इंक्वायरी की रिपोर्ट नहीं आ जाती है तब तक आर्मी की गलती के विषय में कुछ कहना मैं नहीं समझता ठीक होगा।
ओके, स्वप्निल शिखा, योर क्वेश्चन प्लीज।
According to the Hindustan Times, the security officers on the LOC have been accused of selling ammunition to the terrorists and allowing them to enter India after accepting bribes. So how do you react to this news? And what are the steps that are being taken in order to prevent this and to ensure foolproof security?
मंत्री साहब, do you believe the Hindustan Times?
I don't believe at all, क्योंकि मैं नहीं समझता कि आर्मी के बारे में इस तरह की एक्सप्रेशंस करना कि जैसे अभी सिंघवी साहब ने कहा, वी हैव गॉट द फाइनेस्ट आर्मी। दुनिया के अंदर सब जगह पर हिंदुस्तान की आर्मी का जो रिकॉर्ड है उसके मुकाबले में कहीं आपको आर्मी नहीं मिल सकती। इसलिए इसके विषय में ये कहना कि वो एम्यूनिशन टेररिस्ट को बेच रहे होंगे, आई नेवर एग्री। और मैं नहीं समझता कि इस तरह की रिपोर्ट्स जो है ये प्रेस में आनी चाहिए।
मैं एक चीज आपसे पूछ सकता हूं कि अगर ये रिपोर्ट बिल्कुल ही 100% गलत है तो फिर डिफेंस मिनिस्ट्री ने इस रिपोर्ट के खिलाफ स्टेटमेंट क्यों नहीं इशू किया? क्योंकि आर्मी तो अपने आप नहीं कर पाएगी, लेकिन आप आर्मी के पॉलिटिशियंस हैं, इट इज श्योरली योर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू क्लियर द एयर विद एन ऑफिशियल स्टेटमेंट।
देखिए, जो कुछ आजकल प्रेस में आ रहा है, अगर उसके अंदर अगर हम उलझने लगेंगे तो मैं समझता हूँ कोई काम नहीं हो पाएगा। यानी हकीकत यह है कि आज हिल काका में जो हमने ऑपरेशन किया है, दैट वाज द फाइनेस्ट ऑपरेशन, कि केवल मात्र हमारे 5 आदमी मारे गए, 65 हमने टेररिस्ट ऑन स्पॉट मार दिए, और उसको भी उन्होंने कंट्रोवर्शियल बना दिया।
मंत्री साहब,
अब इसलिए मेरा ये कहना है कि प्रेस की रिपोर्ट्स के ऊपर उसकी कंट्राडिक्शन हम करते रहे। आई डोंट थिंक दिस इज द टास्क ऑफ द मिनिस्ट्री और द अवर डिपार्टमेंट।
आपका हक है सर कि आप ना उलझना चाहें, लेकिन लग रहा है जैसे अभिषेक जी तो बिल्कुल तैयार हैं।
I must put on record, because the terrorist issue which we raised in the last question brings us to the larger defense issue. I do not think that from independence till today we have had a government with a worse track record on defense matters than this government, and I am very sorry to say that. Take one by one, each is more bizarre than the rest.
अब मामले को इतना ब्रॉड ना करें, पहले स्वप्निल के सवाल का
मैं उसी का जवाब दे रहा हूँ। हिलकाका में इतने बड़े क्षेत्र में, हजारों किलोमीटर के क्षेत्र में इतने लोग कैसे घुसे, उसका प्रश्न का उत्तर कोई नहीं देता है। ये बताते हैं कि कैसे लोगों को खदेड़ के बाहर फेंका, लेकिन ये सिचुएशन कैसी आई कि वो इतने बड़े क्षेत्र में अंदर आ गए। कारगिल में ये कैसे हुआ? नंबर 2। नंबर 3, हमारे देश में
मैं सिंघवी साहब मैं ये इतना चाहूंगा, एक बार सिंघवी साहब उस एरिया को देख करके आए बिफोर कमेंटिंग।
नहीं, लेट मी फिनिश। देखिए, कोई भी देश अपने बॉर्डर्स और हर सीमाएं देश की बहुत लंबी चौड़ी होती हैं, बहुत इनएक्सेसिबल होती हैं। वो कोई बहाना या एक्सक्यूज नहीं होती कि इनएक्सेसिबल है इसलिए हम उनको क्षेत्र को गार्ड न करें। उसके बाद आप देखिए तहलका का जो प्रॉब्लम हुआ डिफेंस मिनिस्ट्री को लेके, उसके बाद आप देखिए जो प्रोक्योरमेंट नहीं हुआ।
But you're making this a much broader issue and you have a right to, but what about specifically Swapnil's question? Do you believe the Hindustan Times report? And if, like the minister, you don't believe it, then do you think the ministry should have denied it?
Let me give the benefit of doubt to the ministry. Certainly I would have a higher regard for the army. I do not say that every report in a newspaper should be believed, but certainly a report as serious as this should at the least meet with a categorical, specific, factual rebuttal. Given the record in Hilkaka and Kargil, it is extremely dangerous.
Okay. Let me intervene and make one point and then come to Ajit Singh Saab. No one here intends to cast aspersions on our army. I want to make that clear for the audience at home specifically. We hold our army in the greatest regard. Perhaps it's the one institution that everyone agrees about. However, in the army's interest, when aspersions are cast on it, it's essential that in a democracy they be discussed, because that's the openness that the army would want. In that spirit, sir, how do you respond to the Hindustan Times report and the fact that no one's contradicted it?
See, recently there were reports and confirmed reports that J&K police were involved in helping terrorists in some cases. So it is very much possible that there are some black sheep in our armed forces also. In the finest institutions, there are possibility is there that there are some bad
Would you
employees.
therefore go one step
So-
further and say the government should inquire into this?
And I'm sure the government is. They may not publicize it, but I'm sure every such incident, as far as army is concerned, national security is concerned, is investigated.
इन्होंने एक बड़ी तीखी चीज कही मंत्री साहब. He says, I'm sure the government is inquiring, but they may not wish to publicize it. Is that a fact?
अगर ऐसी चीज है तो आपने खुद ही कह दिया है कि they will not like to publicize it.
आपने काफी कह दिया साहब. आगे कहने की कोई जरूरत नहीं. Akanksha Khare, your question on a somewhat wider issue.
George Fernandez has said that General Musharraf has given orders to end militancy, but within Pakistan there exist lobbies who do not want to see the peace efforts succeed and are creating this trouble. Is our defense minister placing too much faith in Musharraf, or does he have proof of Musharraf's sincerity?
Let me begin with you, Ajit Singh Saab. George Fernandez says that Musharraf has given orders to end militancy. How does he know this?
Is it George placing too much confidence in Musharraf or in Bush? Because that's what Bush has been saying also. That Musharraf is all right, he is in trouble, let's help him, he wants to end militancy.
Do you share this
So-
confidence in Musharraf?
Should we care whether Musharraf is doing it or ISI is doing it or military generals are doing it? The fact is it's coming from that country.
So in other words, you don't share George Fernandez's confidence in General Musharraf's efforts.
I think he has more confidence in Bush, that's why he's saying it.
Mr. Singhvi, the Congress party, does the Congress believe that General Musharraf has given orders to end militancy? Incidentally, I should say that these are all quotations from yesterday's Thursday's Hindu front page.
Which
The
can be
factual-
denied.
The factual answer has to be that nobody would know. Certainly nobody in the Congress would know whether Musharraf has given such orders. But I share broadly the view he expressed. I think our approach should be, please engage them, please talk to them, but be extra careful, keep your guard up. There cannot be the slightest letting out of the guard. And ultimately you will judge Musharraf not by the orders he gives, the words he uses, but by the results on the ground.
Mantri
If you
Sahab-
find the results on the ground going bad, it doesn't matter what Musharraf is saying or is allegedly saying.
Mantri Sahab, let me repeat for your benefit and the audience's benefit the exact quotations Akanksha is quoting from yesterday's Hindu. General Musharraf has given orders to end militancy, but within Pakistan there exist lobbies who do not want to see the peace efforts succeed and are creating this trouble. Now, where does Mr. Fernandez, your senior in the same ministry, get the confidence to say this?
I think you can give the better answer because you have visited Pakistan.
पर मैं रक्षा मंत्री नहीं हूँ सर.
रक्षा मंत्री
रक्षा मंत्री तो आप हैं.
आपने देखा ही है कि वहाँ लोगों के दिलों में हिंदुस्तान के प्रति कितना प्यार है. वो चाहते हैं सुलह हो जाए, लेकिन दी पाकिस्तान गवर्नमेंट इज गवर्न्ड बाय द आर्मी, आई थिंक, और आर्मी इज मेनली गाइडेड बाय दिस ISI. तो ISI और आर्मी का जो इस तरह का रिलेशन है, आई डोंट थिंक कि दे आर इंटरेस्टेड इन पीस. दे आर इंटरेस्टेड रियली कि जम्मू कश्मीर का इशू
Maybe
हमेशा
Samta
जिंदा
party
रहे.
politics is going on in Pakistan. George is playing that politics there
I
also.
doubt if Musharraf would admit, because that statement has an admission implicit in it. There is an admission by Musharraf that there has been militancy practice from there. I don't think officially he would make that admission.
मंत्री साहब, जवाब तो आपने बहुत मीठा और काफी चतुर दिया, लेकिन असलियत ये है कि जॉर्ज फर्नांडिस साहब पाकिस्तान की आवाम के दिलों की बात नहीं कर रहे थे, वो सिर्फ जनरल मुशर्रफ की दिल की बात कर रहे थे। जनरल मुशर्रफ के दिल के बारे आपको जानकारी कहां से आ गई?
हम चाहते हैं, आई विश कि जनरल ये कहे, पीछे जो उसका स्टेटमेंट आया था उसमें 12 जनवरी को उसने कहा था, माना था कि भाई मिलिटेंसी,
वो 1.5 साल पुराना स्टेटमेंट था, पिछले साल की 12 जनवरी की बात हो रही है।
वही मैं कह रहा हूँ ना, उस समय उसने जरूर ये कहा था, और कुछ ऐसी संस्थाएं भी हैं जिनके ऊपर उसने बैन भी लगाया है। लेकिन हकीकत ये है,
ये वो बात हुई जो वादा किया वो निभाना पड़ेगा। तानिया गुप्ता, योर क्वेश्चन, द लास्ट वन फॉर दिस पार्ट.
Although George Fernandes and L.K. Advani have said that the peace process will continue, but then how long can we continue to sacrifice the lives of our soldiers and innocent civilians for a process that Pakistan keeps obstructing?
I'm going to ask you gentlemen for very brief answers. Do you think the peace process should continue, or do you think after last week's and this week's attacks we need to rethink?
Is there a peace process? I think it's the terrorism process which is continuing. What is the peace process?
That answer says it all. Mr. Singhvi, should the peace process continue or should we rethink?
I think we can have a combination. The two are not mutually exclusive. Peace process continuing with extremely careful, guarded action. The alternative which he's saying is what? A war process that will only lose more lives.
So in other words, we don't
can't
have
do
an
anything else.
alternative to peace.
Yes. We have an alternative, only peace along with extremely strong vigilance.
Mantri Sahab, the only answer that really counts is yours.
Yeah,
Should the peace process continue?
I agree with सिंघवी जी, जैसे इन्होंने कहा है कि भाई पीस प्रोसेस तो करना ही पड़ेगा। अल्टीमेटली यू नो इन 71 वी हैड 93,000 सोल्जर्स ऑफ पाकिस्तान, और अल्टीमेटली टॉक्स हुई थे, बाद में पीस प्रोसेस से चालू हुआ। तो लड़ाई जितनी मर्जी हो जाए, जैसे इन्होंने कहा है, मैं यही बात इनके साथ 100% सहमत हूँ। प्रधानमंत्री ने कश्मीर के अंदर ये अनाउंस किया कि मैं पाकिस्तान के साथ तीसरी बार फिर वार्ता शुरू करूंगा, लेकिन साइमल्टेनियसली उसी वक्त हमने हिल काका के ऊपर जो पाकिस्तानी यहाँ पर आए हुए थे उनको खदेड़ने का काम भी किया। तो हमारी तो 2 prong पॉलिसी है ही, इसमें तो कोई शक नहीं रहना चाहिए कि हम पीस प्रोसेस की तरफ भी आगे बढ़ेंगे, लेकिन विजिलेंस के अंदर हम किसी तरह से कमजोरी नहीं दिखा।
लेकिन चाहे 1-2 और भी अटैक्स हो इस तरह के फदायीन, आपके पीस प्रोसेस का इरादा टूटेगा नहीं।
सवाल ही पता नहीं होता है, पीस प्रोसेस तो चलेगा बराबर।
I think that deserves a round of applause. And then we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in a moment's time to talk about, once again, the Mandir Masjid controversy. It seems to be there with us every single week. It simply doesn't fade away. See you after the break. Welcome back to the big question, the Mandir Masjid controversy, and of course you can add to that the CBI. Suhani Arora, your question please.
How can the CBI drop conspiracy charges against L.K. Advani and Murli Manohar Joshi when some of the other car sevaks being tried separately for conspiracy have publicly said Advani and Joshi instigated them?
And at the same time, Pallavi Sharma, your question also.
Does the CBI's decision to proves the opposition right in their fear that L.K. Advani as a home minister would mean that this issue, the Ayodhya issue, will not be solved and will not be pursued impartially or purely?
Okay, let's first start with Sohani's question, and let me begin by putting it to you, Mr. Singhvi, because you are the only qualified lawyer amongst us. The rest of us want to be but aren't. Can the CBI drop the conspiracy charge when all the others who are being charged for conspiracy have publicly said that they were instigated by Advani Saab and Joshi Saab?
The answer is a vigorous, vehement, thundering no. Let me add to this. The CBI not only cannot drop, it is the CBI, laughably, which has argued for the last 10 years that there should be a conspiracy charge. The CBI's argument was upheld by the Sessions Judge Srivastav, upheld by the High Court Jagdish Bhalla. The only reason why Justice Bhalla said that you can go back and seek a consent in terms of the consultation process. The issue of charges was upheld, the issue of conspiracy was upheld. Now look at what happens. The whole matter is obfuscated on a very narrow issue. The real question is not even whether the CBI can drop or add. the real question is, why should not CBI simply add a one line to the charge sheet which they are filing or submitting to the court, saying there's a conspiracy? Does it mean that we are arguing today that in 1992 there were 1,000 car sevaks there, there was this clutch of leaders standing here, and everybody was acting in a totally unconnected, totally different individual spontaneous manner?
You're saying
It
that
makes
that's,
a mockery of the whole case.
You're saying that's implausible.
It's a mockery of the whole system.
Ajit Singh Sahab, you have been a member of this government except for the last couple of weeks. Pallavi's question is, does the CBI's decision prove that the opposition were right in their fear that with Advani Sahab as Home Minister, the Ayodhya case will not be impartially and properly pursued?
Let me add to that with Mr. Advani here and Mayawati in Lucknow.
Both are essential
In
in
tandem, they have made sure the technicalities, Mr. Singhvi can tell how they use the technicalities, but the fact is that they have tried to spare both Advani and Murli Manohar Joshi and Uma Bharti from being charged for conspiracy, while the other people involved in it, those who were with them, are being charged.
मंत्री साहब, एक छोटे सवाल का पहले आप जवाब दीजिए। आप लोगों के मन में, काफी लोगों के मन में शक तो मैं नहीं कहूंगा लेकिन घबराहट थी कि अगर अडवाणी साहब गृह मंत्री रह चुके तो फिर अयोध्या मामले में ठीक तरह कार्रवाई नहीं होगी। अब लग रहा है जैसे वो घबराहट सही थी।
अडवाणी साहब ने जो पार्लियामेंट में इस विषय पर 3-4 बार बोला है, जो मैंने भी सुना है, उसमें तो उन्होंने साफ कहा है कि दैट वाज द सैडेस्ट डे ऑफ माय लाइफ, कि जिस दिन वहां पर मस्जिद जो है वो टूटी है। और ये भी कई बार कई जो हमारे कार सेवक थे उनके यहाँ पर स्टेटमेंट्स हैं कि वो बाकायदा सबको मना कर रहे थे, रोक रहे थे।
लेकिन फिर जो कार सेवक हैं वो कुछ और क्यों कह रहे हैं? क्योंकि हर एक अखबार में उनके बारे छापा गया कि अडवाणी साहब के कहने पे, जोशी साहब के कहने पे ही ये किया गया था।
देखिए, आज तो कल्याण सिंह भी वो उल्टा बोल रहा है।
वो आपके
यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दी पॉलिटिकल जो यानी सबकी मजबूरियां होती हैं, उनको अगर आप ध्यान में रखेंगे तो उसके कारण अलग अलग स्टेटमेंट्स आते रहते हैं।
चलिए, उनके बारे में छोड़िएगा क्योंकि ये लोग आपसे अब जुदा हो गए। मुझे सीबीआई का बताइएगा। December 2000, I believe, the CBI said in court, and I'm quoting, prima facie it is an established fact that there was a criminal conspiracy among all the accused persons to demolish the disputed structure on December 6, 1992. How come then that charge is today missing from the charge sheet?
That's a short question.
नहीं, वो तो जैसे अजीत सिंह साहब ने कहा, टेक्निकलिटीज तो ये बेहतर जान सकते हैं, लेकिन बताया ये गया है कि जो चार्ज शीट 93 में लगी थी आज भी वही है। और वही
अजीत सिंह साहब आपका समर्थन नहीं कर रहे थे? हो सकता है आपने उन्होंने उनका जवाब गलत समझा हो। ये तो कह रहे थे कि मायावती जी की एक तरह की साजिश थी।
नहीं, वो तो अलग
आखिर कर सेवा का मतलब ही क्या है? कर सेवा का मतलब कुछ करना था ना, वहां जाके गए क्यों थे?
खत्म करने दीजिए इनको। बताइए सर, बताइए। आई वोंट लेट देम इंटरप्ट यू।
नहीं, मैं तो टेक्निकलिटीज की बात कर रहा हूँ कि जो लीगल टेक्निकलिटीज हैं ही कैन इंटरप्रेट बेटर। लेकिन आज भी, कल भी पार्लियामेंट के अंदर इस बात पर डिस्कशन हुआ है और उसमें जो हमारे जेटले साहब ने, जो लॉ मिनिस्टर है, उन्होंने जो इंटरप्रिटेशन दिया है, उन्होंने कहा कि देयर इज नो चेंज एट ऑल।
मैं ये सबमिट करना चाहूंगा कि इसमें टेक्निकलिटी कुछ भी नहीं है। बड़ी सादी सिंपल बात है। 2 एफआईआर शुरुआत से 7 थे। शुरुआत से अंत तक क्रिमिनल कॉन्स्पिरेसी का चार्ज था। एक एफआईआर 198 में लिखा नहीं था क्योंकि कभी जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ी, क्योंकि दोनों साथ हो रहे थे ट्रायल और जजेस ने अपहोल्ड किया। जब वो एफआईआर ट्रांसफर हुई रायबरेली, तो सीबीआई जो कि एक एग्जीक्यूटिव एजेंसी है जो सरकार के अंतर्गत वर्क करती है, उसको 2 लाइन ऐड करनी थी क्योंकि अब अलग हो गई है ये चार्ज, इस पर चार्ज ऐड कर दीजिए। ये चार्ज उन्होंने ऐड नहीं किया। सिर्फ इसका एक ही उद्देश्य हो सकता है, हु विल गार्ड द गार्डियंस।
लेकिन मुझे एक चीज बताइए, आपको ये कैसे पता कि वो 2 लाइन ऐड करने का कारण ये था कि साजिश थी? हो सकता है कि बेचारों को कलम ना मिली हो,
इसलिए करता है। एक कारण तो हो सकता है कलम ना मिली हो, आप नहीं कह रहे हैं। दूसरा कारण ये हो सकता है, एक कारण वो भी है, दूसरा कारण ये हो सकता है कि सीबीआई 1992 से आज तक कह रही क्रिमिनल कॉन्स्पिरेसी, आपने खुद ने पढ़ा भी है, तो सीबीआई को अचानक एमनीसिया हो गया क्या कि क्रिमिनल कॉन्स्पिरेसी 92 की थी तो यहाँ पर चार्जशीट में नहीं आई?
पॉलिटिशियंस को हो सकता है एमनीसिया इतनी आसानी के साथ, तो
आपका कलम का कारण सही है।
जी आप कुछ कहना चाहते थे, पूछिए.
This might be a slight digress from the topic, but how does the opposition justify an entire day in Parliament being spent on the Ayodhya issue?
And can I add to that Divya Divakar's question as well, because it's very closely connected. Divya?
The VHP has said that if the government doesn't move a bill in the present session on the Ram Mandir, it will launch a massive nationwide campaign.
My apologies, I
It is
didn't mean
blackmail.
Divya, I've made a big mistake there. I meant to say Pallavi Purkayast's question. Pallavi, can we have your question, because it's very closely connected to this.
Do you think when a matter is sub judice, it should be debated in the parliament? If not, why did the opposition want to do it?
Let me first put that to you, Jeet Singh Saab. The two questions. Is it worth raising this issue in Parliament? And the gentleman's question as
The
well.
issue is before the nation, the issue is before the public. It's a very important issue. For last 12 years, we are doing nothing but discussing Mandir Masjid and the 6th December events. So it has to be raised in Parliament.
Are you satisfied with that answer? Why aren't you satisfied?
What should we do?
This is a religious issue. Do you think it should be debated
No, no,
so much in the
that's a
Parliament?
different
I know,
thing.
we're talking about Ayodhya. What about the specific question about the CBI
Yes.
dropping the conspiracy charge? That's what's being debated in Parliament.
Not Ayodhya.
But an entire day being spent on Parliament in the Ayodhya issue?
Not 1 day, 3 days.
It's a complete myth. It's a complete myth trotted out by the government and the respected law minister that it is a sub judice matter. The issue is whether an executive agency like the CBI need not add a charge when a charge sheet is presented. Sub judice starts when the court starts adjudicating. Today the issue is filing a charge sheet.
but that
There is
cannot be
nothing
done-
sub judice. There is
that
nothing
cannot
sub
be
judice.
done by
No, no,
pressure.
there is nothing sub judice. An executive agency has defaulted collusively in not filing a charge sheet correctly. That is an issue which has nothing to do with sub judice. And secondly, Parliament would be abdicating its duty to the nation if it did not discuss it.
Okay, we've got more hands going up on the floor. Let me get a handful of comments and then come back. Lady at the back in the wonderful multicolored t-shirt.
I would like to ask, as Mr. Singh said, that this issue is being discussed for last 12 years. Why isn't there a solution found to it? Why is history being dug up and discussed again and again?
You're talking about the wider Ayodhya issue?
Yeah.
Lady over there?
As in the present state of affairs, where the CBI's credibility is questionable, can the jurisdiction of the CBI be relied upon?
Ah, that's very interesting. Ajit Singh Saab, would you hereafter rely upon the CBI?
Well, you have to rely on whatever investigating agency is there. What option do you have?
But the real
But the
question...
credibility of CBI has been affected. It's not only this event only, past also many such things have happened. That's a question is there in
You
the
could
mind of the
also,
people.
if you want to be painfully honest, add that you've been members of governments, Congress governments and National Front governments. where
What
the
I'm
CBI
saying
has
is
been
that
misused
there
as
have
well.
been events in the past where the credibility of the CBI has been in doubt. Not only that, all investigating agencies, even in this case, the question is being raised why the previous chief minister in UP and this chief minister in UP did not correct what was considered just a minor lapse, and they overlooked the fact that when these cases are clubbed, you have to take permission from the chief justice. That's the only thing Justice Bhalla said. So the credibility is
Mantri
in
Sahab,
doubt.
let me bring the Mantri Sahab first. Mantri Sahab, the question is, has the CBI's credibility been undermined? Do you want to defend the CBI?
देखिए, अवर्स इज ए डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री. अगर कहीं पर किसी के खिलाफ कोई चीज कही गई तो उससे उसकी क्रेडिबिलिटी खत्म हो जाएगी, ये मैं नहीं मानता. आफ्टर ऑल वी हैव टू वर्क थ्रू दीज एजेंसीज. अब उसका जो भी फैसला होगा, जो भी वो डिसीजन करेगी, वो डिसीजन जो है पब्लिक के बीच में जाएगा. आफ्टर 5 years वी हैव अगेन टू गो टू द पब्लिक, और वो फैसला दे देंगे कि उनकी यानी
पब्लिक तो आपकी सरकार पे फैसला देगी, सीबीआई पे तो नहीं देगी.
सरकार, सीबीआई इज ए पार्ट ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट.
Surely not. The CBI is an independent institution that is not part of the government.
Institutional. That is.
I think the Best Bakery case, along with the President Ayodhya case, along with some other cases, has severely shaken the confidence in the administration of justice through agencies like CBI. The issue arises fundamentally who will guard the guardians of law when they do something wrong. There is now need, and I've written about it recently, I think it's something to be considered seriously by everybody irrespective of politics, need for a independent directorate of prosecution who is answerable or which is answerable only to the constitution, something like an election commission. You see what happens where in the Best Bakery case, for example, the state government allegedly is collusive in prosecution and the secondary guardian of law, namely the central government, is of the same philosophy as the state government.
Is this the
Then
official
what happens?
position of the Congress party, or is this the position of an extremely intelligent lawyer who happens to be the spokesman of the Congress
No,
party?
this is certainly, I mean, it's not that Congress party sits and makes a resolution of this kind, but certainly Congress party has spoken out strongly against the best bakery events.
No,
And
no,
we
no, I'm
believe
talking
that
about the need
executive-
for an independent prosecution agency reporting directly to the Constitution.
It is certainly something which I think should be a very major issue for the country as such.
In other words,
England
you have
has
to still persuade your party to accept your own intelligence, but let's hope you succeed. Divya Divakar, I took your question out of turn. My apologies, but please now ask it.
The VHP has said that if the government doesn't move a bill in the present session on the Ram Mandir, it will launch a massive nationwide campaign. Is this blackmail?
Gentlemen, very quickly, is this blackmail, Mr. Jeet Singh? आप हंस रहे हैं? लग रहा है आपको blackmail का थोड़ा शौक है? थोड़ी experience भी है सर?
The only campaign VHP can launch is on TV and media. They are incapable of having any mass movement anymore. We all know that. We have seen their meetings in Ayodhya and UP where this whole thing started. They can collect more than 100 people. But thanks to our Mr. Karan Thapar and his tribe, every day you see Togadia and Singhal on TV.
मंत्री साहब बताइएगा, is the VHP threat to launch a massive nationwide campaign if the government doesn't move a bill in the present session blackmail?
देखिए, we are living in a democratic country. अब कौन क्या
ये
बोलता
बड़ी
है, क्या
कमाल की
कहता है?
डेमोक्रेसी, आप क्या कह रहे हैं? हर एक को ब्लैकमेल करने का भी हक है?
नहीं, अब ये तो हक आपने ही दिया है।
मैंने नहीं दिया सर।
6
ना
दिसंबर
तो मैं रक्षा मंत्री हूँ, ना मैं ब्लैकमेल देने का हक है मेरा।
जस्ट मिनट, 6 दिसंबर का दिन जो है, कहीं देश के अंदर कहीं कोई जरा सी भी कोई आवाज भी नहीं खड़ी होती, लेकिन पार्लियामेंट हमारा बंद हो जाता है। अब इसको क्या कहेंगे आप?
I'll tell you why it's not blackmail.
Why is it not blackmail?
It's not blackmail because it is collusion. The VHP for the 100th time has given a so-called call for a nationwide campaign. Whenever elections are near, the VHP starts this issue, it raises it to a pitch, it makes demands on the government, the government says we are considering it, and then they don't consider it. This is all charade.
So you
They are
can't
all
just-
limbs of the same family.
You're
They call
saying you
themselves
can't
the Parivar.
blackmail a government that
Yes.
wants to collude with you?
Yes.
Lady at the back.
No question of blackmail.
Mr. Singh said that VHP can't include a mass. Sir, you're you're questioning VHP can't include a mass, but you're connected Ayodhya. Wasn't Ayodhya a mass movement?
I said today people like those are not capable of that. That issue, public is not concerned with the issue. It's only some wings of this Parivar, Bhajpa Parivar, which are raising this issue again and again. As soon as election comes, you will hear Bhajpa start talking different tongues. They want there should be nothing else on newspaper and TV, no other issues except Mandir and Masjid issue. Therefore, 4 days a week, they will say this is not an election issue. 3 days a week, they'll say yes, it is an issue.
Okay, let's put Mr. Jeet Singh's point to all of you. You don't represent the country, but you clearly have a right to represent your own views. I'm going to ask you a simple question. Those who think that the Mandir Masjid Ayodhya issue is the most important thing facing the country, and those who think there are other things that are more important. Those who think it's the most important issue, shout most important. Not one person. I'm going to give you another chance because I think this is a very important response. Not one person. Those who think there are other things that are more important, shout other things. Other things. And on that, we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back to talk about, you guessed it, other things. See you in a moment. Welcome back to The Big Question. We now turn to other things, and we start with the Uniform Civil Code. Krishna Kaushik, your question, please.
Does the panel agree with the Supreme Court's observation calling for a common civil code to help national integration? And will such a law really help in national integration?
Ajit Singh ji, will such a law help national integration, or will it divide the country instead?
It's in our directive principles, but things like that can only be done with the consent of the people concerned. There have been reform movements, voices for reform in all religions, and therefore until they agree, until they are consulted about whom we are talking, bringing a law will not change anything. It will only create more problems, more debate about this, more extremist elements in both communities will start raising their voices. I don't think it will lead to national integration.
Mr. Singhvi, if this can only be done with the consent of the people concerned, aren't you then giving them a veto? And is that justified?
The interesting thing is, and most people have not read it, the Constitution gave them that veto. If you read the Constituent Assembly debates, when this clause for Article 44 was debated, it was hotly debated, and people expressed an apprehension that yes, we may progress towards it, but we will not agree to it immediately because people have different views.
But you're actually
Ambedkar got up and
but
said-
you're quoting the debates. The Constitution doesn't say
no,
that
let me
any
just-
one community has a veto.
No. Mr. Ambedkar said this clause is being put in the directive principles because it is intended to be optional. Now the Constitution is interpreted by the intention of the framers of the Constitution. The chairman of the drafting committee is on record. You see the photocopy of
Why is that
The
language
object
not
therefore
in the
is-
Constitution itself?
No, that's why it's put in part 4. The debate was it should be put in part 3, which is the enforceable fundamental right.
Directive
It says-
principles aren't optional. Directive
Yes, they
principles
are.
are things that you work
No,
towards.
the language of 44 is the state shall endeavor to ensure that there is a
Surely,
shall
that's
endeavor.
right. It's not optional.
No,
it
it's
shall
not.
endeavor to ensure.
Because-
not optionally.
No, endeavor to ensure means that you must generate the consensus. Nobody is against the civil code if you generate a consensus. But why should you do something by compulsion and force when you know that the result will divide people more than the good object for which you're trying to join them?
Mantri Sahab,
The opposite effect.
your party, the BJP, has always stood in favor of a uniform civil code. Do you think the Supreme Court's observations, and I underline the word observations because it's not a judgment, reinforce and strengthen your position?
मेरा ये कहना है कि the highest authority in our country for interpretation of the Constitution is Supreme Court. When Supreme Court is of the view, they have observed it that we must proceed. अब सिंघवी साहब ने खुद भी कहा है कि इन्होंने जैसे वो हमारे 370 के बारे में नेहरू जी ने खुद कहा ये घिसते घिसते घिस जाएगी, आज तक परमानेंट होती चली जा रही है। तो वैसे ही कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के जो बनाने वाले थे उन्होंने ये माना था कि वी मस्ट गो टू द पब्लिक एंड क्रिएट एटमॉस्फेयर फॉर दिस सिविल कोड, कॉमन सिविल कोड। तो 50 वर्ष बीतने के बाद भी अगर नहीं बन सका तो आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एक डायरेक्शन दी है, ऑब्जर्वेशन दी है। मैं समझता हूँ इट हैज डेफिनेटली स्ट्रेंथन्ड आवर स्टैंड।
जी, आप पूछना चाहती हैं?
We're fighting over mandir and masjid issues. On what basis do we say that we want to have national integration when we can't solve such small issues?
अब साथ साथ एक और चीज का भी मुझे जवाब दीजिएगा। Do you think that having a uniform civil code so that the same laws of marriage, death, inheritance apply to everyone would help, or do you think it will hinder?
I think it would help.
So you're in favor of it?
Yes.
I want to put that to all of you. Do you people think that as a democratic secular country we should have one set of laws for marriage, death, inheritance and those issues that apply to everyone, or should we have laws that are determined by our respective religions? Because that's what a uniform
No,
civil
but
code amounts
question
to.
is, should we do it by law or should we go to the people as he is saying?
Consensus
That's the
is-
question.
But
Should we do it by law?
First, let's talk about the need and then come to how we achieve it. Those in favor of a uniform civil code shout yes. Yes. Those against shout no. No. You know, before we even go further, the House is split 50-50. You don't have
I
the
think
consensus in the audience.
I
that
think
you
yes
you do.
has got the majority.
Even then.
ये आपको कैसे पता लगा? मेरे कानों में तो कुछ और लगा।
Even then, if there may be a marginal majority, you see, people tend to think that if we are speaking with caution, it means that we are against national integration. Look at the practical difficulties. It's not easy to create one law which has, you have the HUF for
मैं interrupt
Hindus, you have
करके
certain
छोटा
rules
सवाल
about
पूछ सकता हूँ? When the Hindu Code Bill was courageously passed by your party in 1956, and note, I use the word courageously,
Yes.
there wasn't a necessary consensus in India, but you stood up in favor of it, you stood up against opposition to it, and you convinced people it was necessary. Why can't you, or politicians as a whole, take the same courageous stand?
There's a
in
vital
this issue?
difference. There's a vital difference. The 55-56 legislation was based on an attempted consensus on one common scriptural law. Hindu law had a certain uniformity and commonality. The same scriptural uniformity is not there in Hindu and Islamic law. It is not there in Hindu and Parsi.
Quite right, which is why you would be
Therefore, at different
superseding
degrees.
all scriptural laws with a uniform civil code
Yes,
that would be
but the-
equally alien to
But
all
we
and
don't,
therefore
the
equally welcome to
constitution
all.
maker said that it should not be taken to an extent which will divide the country, which is why we deliberately and advisedly put it in part 4, which is only a object to endeavor towards, but not to impose. See, nobody can be
Ajit Singh
against
Saab, when
the
I
central-
asked Mr. Singhvi that question, you nodded sagely as if your sentiments at least were in accordance with what I was talking about. Was I wrong?
No, I wanted to hear this excellent lawyer tell what happened really. But the point he's making is that that law was about one major community. There was no question of different communities involved in it, and therefore the danger of having this conflict. So that is the main point.
चीज कह रहे हैं, लग रहा है जैसे आप कह रहे हैं कि हमें हिम्मत है हिंदू कम्युनिटी को रिफॉर्म करने के लिए, लेकिन औरों की रिफॉर्म में हम जरा घबरा जाते हैं और डर जाते हैं. ऐसा ही लगेगा लोगों को. मंत्री साहब को तो लगेगा. हाँ?
मंत्री साहब को तो शुरू से ही लग रहा था.
मतलब भी मेरे सवाल का उत्तर तो दीजिएगा. Do we lack the courage in India to reform minority communities, even though enlightened opinion in their own communities would say this is the right thing to do?
I think those enlightened opinions have to work a little bit harder, make it acceptable within their community, and then we politicians will come forth and make the law.
Okay, hands are going up on the floor. Gentleman in the lovely t-shirt.
I would like to ask that secularism, as most of us define it, is to respect the minorities and is to respect the religions of minorities and as well as the majorities.
And the gentleman over there in the glasses, I gather your name is Karan as well. Congratulations on a superb name. What's your question? No question? You just want to be identified. Well, that you have every right to with a name like Karan. Lady beside you.
India being a secular nation, as my friend said, and secondly believing in unity and diversity. Shouldn't our leaders promote the feeling of unity and diversity rather than imposing uniform civil code?
In other words, you're saying that unity and diversity can be best affected by letting people have diverse codes rather than a uniform civil code.
which binds them more. Diversity sometimes binds much more than an imposed uniformity and unity. And why should we go to an imposed uniformity and unity which will divide our country?
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to take a break at that point. Clearly, this is not an issue that we are going to sort out over here. We have aired the different opinions. We've brought smiles to all faces, including the ministers, which means clearly it's time for a commercial break. And then we'll come back and talk about something really rather dramatically different. Alcohol, and at what age should you be allowed to drink it? See you in a moment. Welcome back to the big question, and now for the question clearly you've all been waiting for. Shubham Yogi, your question please.
I can vote when I turn 18. I can get married when I'm 21. But I cannot drink till 25. Do you think wine is more difficult to handle than a wife or a government?
And Lakshmi Balachandran, your question as well, please.
At 21, you're old enough to get married and mature enough to enter parenthood. But on your wedding night, you cannot have champagne. Why is that?
Ajit Singh ji, you're the closest in age and sentiment to this thought.
Age-wise is there.
Concession, huh?
No, I think we should not keep these two issues separate, the wife and wine. We should mix them. Maybe we should make it mandatory that when you get married you have to drink so that you go through it smoothly.
Normally,
Are you suggesting that a drink is necessary to make the wife acceptable?
No, the last minute jitters so that they go through it smoothly. That's all I'm saying.
You have a wife. Do you drink?
That's right. See, I was just going to say, it's simple for me. Since I'm a teetotaler, I definitely go and support the wife.
Mantri Sahab, बताइए sir. Do you think we should lower the age of alcohol consumption? आखिर जब 18 साल की उम्र पे वोट दी जा सकती है और 21 साल की उम्र पे शादी हो सकती है, तो फिर 25 की उम्र तक रुकने की क्या जरूरत है to have a glass of wine?
मैं तो चाहूंगा कि सारी जिंदगी भर कोई ना पिए.
आप 25 तक
की
एमपी
बात
भी नहीं
कर
बन
रहे हैं.
सकते. हाँ साहब,
मैं तो
25 तक एमपी भी नहीं बन सकते.
मैं तो ये जितने लोग जहाँ बैठे हैं बाहर सामने, उनसे यही दरख्वास्त करूंगा, क्योंकि उन्होंने देखा है कि वाइन ने कितने लोगों की कैरियर जो है वो खराब भी की है, तो कम से कम उस एक्सटेंट तक तो किसी ने पीना नहीं चाहिए.
Chali, we've got hands going up. Okay, first back to you. Are you satisfied with the answers you got, Shubham?
Not at all. Well, the reason we put the question forward was when youngsters like us, we turn 18 in the next 6 months or at the most 10 months. We are on the edge of adulthood. We guys do drink when we are 18, 21, 22. Even at 23, lots of us are drinking, but it is illegal. If nothing else, our our consciousness does tell us this is wrong. This is against the law. Do you think all the youngsters throughout the country do the same thing?
You know, he's making a very good point. A law should reinforce social morality. A law shouldn't exist that makes innocent people guilty of infringing it because the law itself is wrong. Is this not a case of that wonderful British quotation, and I'm covering myself when I say it, where it was said, the law is an ass?
I think it is, but I think it's by inadvertence, by default rather than by deliberation. As far as I can recollect, the City rule of 25 years owes its origin to a 50-80-year-old act, Punjab Excise Act, which is continuing. I don't think anybody's applied their mind. It is part of those 2,500 laws which are up for repeal or modification.
Okay, let me
by
put
committee.
a challenging question to you. Were the Congress party by some measure to end up either forming or heading a government after the next elections, and were you to be law ministered in that government, which some say could happen, will you scrap this law?
Without accepting or admitting any of the nice insinuations in your question, I certainly would say that this law would be changed at least to 21, indeed to 18.
And we can drink to that?
We can drink to that.
Richa Sharma. Oh, we've got more hands on the floor. People clearly like a good drink when they have a chance. G.
And before 18.
And before 18.
Yes.
So it's absurd, but it is not implemented. I mean, if I go to a pub tonight, no one's going to stop me.
So what would you say? That the law be scrapped or that it be implemented? Which would
It's
you
not
prefer?
implemented properly.
So when you go to the pub tonight, which you shouldn't be doing because you're underage, do you wish to be arrested?
I want you arrested because.
But were you to be arrested, would you think that was the right thing to do?
Probably, yes.
Mantri Saab, do you think you should be enforcing the law stricter? Here's a lady who says that were you to arrest her, she would welcome it. Yeah? We had another hand over there. Ji, Pooche.
Mr. Singhvi, you say you would scrap this law. But isn't it in a way better that we have a higher age limit for drinking? People are ruining their lives by becoming
No,
alcoholic.
it's not, I'll tell you. You should not, in fact, as a matter of principle, have laws which are observed only in the breach. It decreases respect for the law. Now, at 18, I mean, there is a limit to which you can have paternalistic laws to look after you. You have to take care of yourself. You can go into drugs, no law will prevent it. 18 is a good age for most things. I think 18 would be the age for entering bars and having drinks. It's a practical way.
But there's something very interesting. Many people do fundamentally believe that drinking is bad for you, it's habit forming, it leads to your ruination of family and career. Therefore, would not a higher age be a better thing? Because the Mantris have actually said that very clearly.
It is, I can understand the Mantris have sentiment, but he knows, as all of us know, that in every state, every culture, every society, prohibition, for example, has failed miserably. Miserably. Ultimately, these things are policed by consensus, by Sanskriti, by values, and you have to know the art of moderation. You can't do it by law.
You know, this subject has clearly touched a chord because we've got lots of hands going. I'm going to take a quick round of comments and then we're going to have to end the show. Gentlemen in glasses in front of me.
Instead of talking about drinking wine or beer, we must talk about the water, which we are not having in proper condition to drink. You can see that the water which is available is not proper water to drink.
That's
You
why
must
you're
have a
drinking
lot to
wine.
just drink the water which is coming from Yamuna, which is also not treated properly.
जी, आप पूछना चाहते हैं?
Sir, I would like to ask you, sir, that instead of, you are saying, Mr. Singhvi, you are saying that the laws are not respected by the people and in different cultures and different diversities. But sir, instead of then changing the laws, shouldn't the laws be better implemented?
Okay, gentlemen at the back, actually in a sense we have discussed that because the lady at the top said she would welcome being arrested if the government had the guts to arrest her.
Increasing the age for alcohol consumption is not the solution. Alcohol may ruin your life even after 25. So what's the
Banning
need?
it would be the solution, is that what you're saying?
No moderation.
No. So what's the need of increasing the age? Because if it's not the solution.
Okay, let's put that to everyone and then we're going to have to end the show. How many people think that the 25 age for drinking alcohol is right and how many people feel it needs to be changed?
Everybody.
Those who think it's right, shout right.
Right.
Those who think it needs to be changed, shout change. And I'm afraid we're going to have to end with
18 or
that.
less.
Well, I suspect they mean less. We're going to end over there. My thanks to the audience for their wonderful spirited questions and my thanks to the audience for the panel for a forceful defense. That's it for this week. We'll be back next week. Make sure you're with us too. Till then, goodbye. Good night.